Okay. So again, good morning, everyone. I'm Kate Brock, the director here at the Community Education Center. And thank you for joining this morning. We've successfully started recording. So for those of you that are watching this post recording, welcome to you and thank you for volunteering for the poverty simulation event. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I put a quick PowerPoint together. Oh, no, not yet. 1 second. You would think we would all be Zoom experts by this point, huh? Okay, there we go. Okay, so since I have Stephanie right there under my box, can you see my screen, Stephanie? Good, thank you. All right, so what we're going to do, just have everyone go around, introduce yourselves, and then we'll talk a little bit about what the poverty simulation is, about the different roles, what you can expect next week, and then tips. There are a lot of us that have been part of a poverty simulation on this training before, so we're all ears to hear what your experience was 3 years ago when we did this, and any tips, suggestions, other questions that anybody has. All right, so we're going to go around first and do some introductions so we all are a little familiar. Some of you have paired up with someone that you might not know at a station, and I think I tried to do the introductions via email as best I could last week for that. So again, I'm just going to go by who I can see in my little box here. I'm going to start with Stephanie Ekstrom and then go to Jackie Herbstreet.
Good morning, everyone. And actually, Jackie's next on my little screen too. Yay! Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie, and I am with the Pitt School of Social Work, and I run the part-time master's program in up in Bradford on the Bradford campus. And I'm also the co-chair of the collaborative board in McKean County. So, Jackie, I pass the baton.
Well, Stephanie, can you say that that you attended you volunteered for the event last time and then a little bit
all within the I thought you were going yes. So I did I attended and volunteered at the poverty simulation. It does seem like quite a while ago. And my assigned role, I was a banker at that time, which is pretty funny if you take a look at my purse. But that was but it was that was eye-opening for both. We're getting to tips later, is that right, Kate?
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
So perception stereotypes of the role of the banker?
No, what role are you this year?
Oh, so this year, so someone's got to be first, right? So this year I am a teacher. Okay,
you're in the school.
I'm in the school, yes. And I'm just going to own the perception that I have, right? I think a lot of times folks think that teachers, since they're so closely involved in educating the children, that they're very familiar with the family, and that's not necessarily the case. They don't know what happens out in the community or within the, within the private settings of the home. Also, just kind of, speaking from familiarity, a lot of in educational settings by teachers and other folks at schools perpetuate negative myths about poverty. Teachers tend to reinforce middle class norms. They come from the middle class. A lot of parents were teachers. And so that this is in our region, this is an area sometimes where children feel stigmatized the most is in school. And I own those perspectives.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. And also just a disclaimer too, if you guys are comfortable discussing perception stereotypes of these roles right now, that's okay. If not, I understand. But since this is a simulation, a lot of it is, kind of, it's not a game as we always say, and is in all of the instructions, but to, kind of create a true simulation, it's okay to think about these perceptions and stereotypes of the roles that you've been assigned, so that you can kind of be aware of how things actually happen in the real life or not. Okay, so next we'll go to Jackie, and then after Jackie will be Angie Wolfe.
So, hi everyone, I'm Jackie Herbstreet. I work here at the Community Education Center. I did participate in the poverty sim last year. I was the thief. I found it very hard. I was arrested several times. I wasn't good at it. This year, my role is the pawn shop. So I'm pretty excited about that because I did steal from the pawn shop and got caught. So this time I'll be watching out for the thief. And I know that I guess my perception as the pawn shop person is really taking advantage of the poverty people, because, they're in need of money. So you don't give them as much as they should have. You just give them what you want to, and then they just have to suffer through, getting to what their needs are.
Great. Thanks, Jackie.
Yep.
And also Stephanie and Jackie are part of the planning committee. Okay, Angie Wolfe is next, and then we'll go to Barb Glott.
Good morning. I'm Angie Wolfe. I work in student affairs at Pitt Bradford. I had a grant and was trained as a facilitator. We have our own kit, but that was right at the hit of COVID. So we have yet to have used it, and I have yet to have facilitated. So I'm excited to be able to participate. I've been a grocer before. I think that's what I'm doing again this year. I think one of the things, I don't know necessarily that I'll get into stereotypes, but one of the things that we did was we closed early, just so that we could simulate the fact that things happen and you show up at the grocery store and sometimes it's closed, or sometimes somebody didn't show up to work and they have to close it. So excited to be here and excited to participate. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Angie. So we'll go to Barb Glott and then Amy Good.
Morning, I'm Barb Glott. I'm the finance director with the Stackpole Hall Foundation. I am a runner this year. I have not participated before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
So Barb, yep. So just to clarify, runner, it's a term I made up. Paul and I kind of made it up based on our experience last year. Sometimes the bank runs out of cash, so someone needs to go from quick cash or the pawn shop or the supermarket and give the bank back some money, or transportation passes need to get redistributed to the stations. And then there's a couple more things that Barb will be doing that I'll hit on a little bit later. Okay, so Amy Good next, and then Paula.
I'm Amy Good, the program manager for the Community Education Center for Elk-Cameron counties. The last time I was the school teacher, and I learned a lot being the school teacher. This year, I am an employer. And as far as perception, stereotypes, I guess I'm just going to take my thoughts on, and this is kind of like a pre-COVID, post-COVID, I think. Previously, I felt that employers, they had rules, regulations, points, whatever not. And I think that they weren't very thoughtful about people in these kind of situations. However, my interactions with them, I feel that that's coming around. I think they're being more understanding, more caring, and working with their employees more. But that's just my perception of it.
Amy, so we'll go to Paula and then Maria.
Good morning. I'm Paula Frizzetti, and I'm the executive director over at the Community Foundation. And Kate and I co-sponsor this event from the foundation and the CEC. And this is our second. But it's like the third time, maybe the fourth time scheduling it because we canceled twice during COVID. So at this point, we do have, from my perspective, we took all the reservations. We do have 70 participants, and about 25 volunteers. We're really excited for this to actually happen this year. And I think that the people coming to it are also excited to experience it. Kate and I experienced this first down in Juniana, I believe, Juniana College. And it was really done on a college campus for more college, the campus, the people on the campus, whether they be a student or whether they be a faculty and it was kind of interesting the way they did it. But it does give you a new perspective going through this. And those of you who have participated as a participant, I'm sure can understand that. And it's been really an honor to be able to work with Kate and doing this because she pulls it all together. I just follow her. I just do the grunt work and get the names, get the money and pay all the bills.
And that's a lot of work. So thanks, Paula. All right. And then Maria, and then after Maria, we'll do Jody.
Hi, Maria Ho. I just graduated St. Vincent College last year, but I'm currently working at Elk-Cameron Winery. I was intern for the CEC a couple years ago, and that's when I first helped out with the poverty simulation. I do not at all remember what I did because I have the memory of a goldfish, but I remember that I enjoyed it. So whatever it was fun. My assigned role this year is the legal activities person. I think that'll be pretty fun being, a robber and whatnot. And in terms of perception, maybe just in terms of illegal activities, I think that a lot of people think that it'll either never happen to them, like they'll never be robbed or they'll never fall into a rut and like have to resort to something. I don't know. That's just what I was thinking.
Okay, great. Thanks, Maria. So we'll do Jody next and then Lisa Cherry.
Hi, Jody Gusto. I'm I'm sitting in my car and sitting in Kane. So if it gets a little loud, I will roll the windows up. So I'm again, Jody Gusto with Northern Pennsylvania Regional College. I originally did this probably over 10 years ago with Northern Tier Community Action in my previous role when I worked there. And at the time, I believe I was a truancy officer, which was very interesting. And gain a new perspective because I had the student, my own kids never missed school. They refused to miss school because there used to be awards back then. So it was interesting to see and to deal with parents and help them with those situations. This time I'm going to be I am a business employer, which is going to be interesting as well because I have had to work with low income staff at my previous position. And I did have to listen to a lot of the hardships. So it might be kind of hard for me to be rough and like follow these. I looked at the things like, that I have to do certain things. So that's going to be kind of hard for me because I'm a very sympathetic person, but I'm excited to be helping.
Great. Thanks, Jody. So we'll do Lisa Cherry and then Christine Fowler.
Hello. So, yep, I'm Lisa Cherry from Alcohol and Drug Abuse Services. I volunteered when we had it the first time here. I was a social services caseworker, and I am that again this time. And I think just in regards to like the perceptions of that, I think that everybody feels like the social services caseworkers should, solve all the problems. You need housing, here you go. You need food stamps, here you go. But it's not always such a simple process. So it really kind of does put it into perspective as far as the day-to-days of, being in their shoes and how that really affects them. So, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Lisa, for returning. So
Sure.
next we'll do Chris Fowler and then Brandy Mason.
Sorry, my camera's not working. I've never done this before. The Interfaith Service. So it's going to be a little different. Some of the stuff looks like it's some of the stuff I do now, so it wouldn't be too bad. I work at Northern Tier in Emporium.
And what's your role this year, Chris?
The Interfaith Service.
Oh, Interfaith Services. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you. And then Brandy Mason and then Mary Maloney.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Hi,
Okay.
Brandy.
This is my first time ever doing one of these. So my name's Brandy Mason. I work for Northern Tier Community Action in Emporium, and we do the ERAP program for Elk and Cameron counties. I will be a pawn shop owner with Jackie. And this is our first time, or my first time doing this before. So it'll be interesting. And like Jackie said, that as being part of a pawn shop owner, that we don't necessarily give the people the money they deserve, but what we feel that we want to give them. So this will be kind of a neat experience for all of us that's doing it.
Great. Thanks, Brandy.
Nice meeting you all.
Okay, so we'll have Mary Maloney, and after that will be Sierra Himes.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mary Maloney, and I work at Northwest Bank. And my experience with the Poverty Sim last time was I was an attendee. I was a teenage child in a family unit, and we had to try to get by day to day. And of course, we ran into some stumbling blocks along the way, which made it a little difficult. And and as an attendee, you find how hard it is for your parents and siblings and everyone to get through a weekly basis on the simulation that we have set up, which was a great experience. This year, I will be a banker along with a counterpart that's unable to make the call today, Angel Fritsch. She and I are going to be the bankers and the loan collectors. I'm looking forward to that, just to see how it all plays out on the other side being a volunteer. So we'll see exactly what all that pertains, and I'm reading over everything. So I'm excited to be part of this. And then also, Kate, real quick, Brooke Meyer had to get off the call. She had a customer step in, and Chris Devani was having trouble getting on the Zoom. So they're both going to reach out to you separately in reference to the instructions and what they need to hear after this call. So just wanted to give you a little update on that as well.
Great. Thanks, Mary.
Yep.
All right. So then I said Sierra is up next, and then after Sierra will be Julia.
Hi, my name is Sierra Himes. I work for Dickinson for Children's Prevention Services. My first experience with the Poverty Sim, I was an attendee, and I kind of thought it was epic. It gave me a very good perspective because I work with teenagers, and a lot of times we think, we wonder why people are making the choices that they're making. We see it in like the middle class as like, that's not a sustainable choice. But the Poverty Sim definitely gave me a real life perspective of why people make the choices that they make. And it just made a lot of things make sense for me. So I'm volunteering because I thought it was a great thing for everybody in our community and people, that are working with people. My role is the utilities collector. And I'm not really sure what the perspective of people is with that. I think it's one of those things where they have a set guideline, and if you don't pay your bill, then they shut it off, and they, people think that they don't care. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm looking forward to it.
Great, thanks, Sierra. Okay, and then Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia Foster. I'm the ELRC director for Region 2. That includes 9 counties of Pennsylvania: Cameron, Elk, McKean, Potter, Warren, Forest, Clearfield, Jefferson, and Clarion counties. So this is the first time I've done anything with the poverty simulations. My assigned position is a social worker. So it will be a different leg of a Department of Human Services position that we're doing. It should be very similar to the work that we do here, establishing eligibility for the child care services. But, every little perspective of a different agency and how they operate gives you a different perception. So as far as perceptions and stereotypes, I think that depends on the actual employee and how many years of service they've been with the Department of Human Services. So, that will be, I have always told clientele that you will get what you give. So, I have worked with the TANF population in my own caseload, and none of them like to participate in any of the work programs and things that are required by the county assistant's office and some of the paperwork. So I've always been an advocate that, you know, you have better results if you go in with a positive attitude.
Great. And you got a couple coworkers with you today there?
I do. They have assigned roles also.
Okay. Do you like to introduce yourselves as well?
Hi, I'm Sylvia Dunlap, eligibility specialist. I've never done this before. Going to be interesting to see how well I can do. I am a child care and Head Start worker. So it'll be interesting.
Hi, I'm Jody Schultz and also work here with the ELRC. And I have overseen a poverty simulation about 10 years ago. And my assigned role is a supercenter clerk, which I already feel sorry for anyone that comes to my station.
Well, you will have some help. I think there'll be 3 of you at the super center this year, because I know a couple years ago we only had 2 there and it was a little too much.
Okay.
And that's
Sounds like a
okay. It
lot.
can be chaotic, you know, that's real life, right? Things can get chaotic. Okay, and then I have Rhonda Skokin, and then after Rhonda, I just have someone that's named iPhone. The camera is off, and I'm not sure who that is. So, and if it's just someone who had to dial in separate from your camera, that's fine. Just let me know.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Skokin. I work for Children and Youth. I'm a supervisor here. I participated in it a few years ago. I've never been the trainer, but I was really excited about doing that, and just so happy that it's coming back because it's such a good eye opener for people. And when I was participating, I was a child, and it was interesting to see how, in terms of decision making, how difficult it was for the parents that I had to, you know, I needed to go to the zoo for school, but they didn't want me to be an outcast and they could not afford to send me to the zoo. So it was very difficult and very emotional for the parents that I had. And so I found myself as a child being like, no, I don't really want to go anyway. I don't feel good. Just trying to ease the burden on the parents. So I think that having those children there in a role is such a good experience for people to see too. So I'm excited about it. And I'm also a friendly superstore clerk.
Great. Thank you, Rhonda. And Rhonda's also part of the planning team. Okay. All right. Did I miss anybody? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just roll right through this then. So what is it? So I'm going to share a different screen here to give for those of you that have not been here. It's helpful to actually see the layout. So here we go. So now you see this map here. It says Missouri's Community Action Poverty Simulation. That's just because Missouri Community Action is what created this kit. And so you'll see here the top left is where the school is stationed. Here's the social services area, the mortgage company, the utility company. There's a quick cash booth, the pawn shop. So you'll see all the community resources, that would be you guys, the roles, the volunteers who are sort of running the communities are going to be on the outside of the setup. And then we'll have signs, you know, for each of your stations that will help the families and you each as volunteers to know where the other community resources are. If you don't know, if for instance, you know, you're working the social services desk and they say go to Interfaith Services and get a voucher for something, and the participant says where's Interfaith Services, it's okay to say I don't know, because in real life they don't always know. So anyhow, so this is just sort of the layout. In the middle are 72 chairs. These are representative of the different family groups. So right here is the family that has the last name starting with A. This is a family of 4. This is a family of 3, and so forth. And this is where they will start the simulation. This is their home base, these families. A quick note, a couple of you said that you had a child role last time. So Paula and I, one thing we did learn from last time we did this, there were some people we gave roles as like babies, that they were under 3, 2, or 1 year of age. And I don't think any of you were that, but we've eliminated that, a person filling that role. Instead, what we'll do is those families that have a 1, 2, or a 3-year-old, they will get a 5-pound bag of sugar that they have to carry around with them. So the families will start at these in the middle. This is where Paula and I, as the facilitators, will do the introduction, the welcome, read the instructions, and give them a chance to look through their packets. I'll get into that a little bit too on what the families are going to see. And then once we actually start the simulation, it'll be 4 20-minute weeks. And then that's when the families will go from their little family unit out to these different stations. And this is where it's timed, and it gets chaotic. And we do as best we can with the space that we have. All right, and so let me go back to sharing my other screen. Okay, so that was the community map. Oops. Okay, so still more about what is it. So here, so if everyone can plan to arrive by 9:15, just so you can get to your stations, look through your packet, because in addition to the instructions that I've emailed you each for your role, you'll each have a packet as well with different things in it. So this, that's a family packet. That's another family packet. But each station has its packet, as you'll see, like in your instructions, all the things that you have, like how much money you have, if you have transportation passes, all the other little props, paperwork, things like that. We'll have that sitting at your station. So, just kind of try to get there by 9:15 so you can get familiar, read through it, have a chance to ask Paula and I any questions, work with your co-workers at your stations if you want to divvy up, certain tasks or roles. Participants will begin arriving by 9:45. We'll have some breakfast snacks out. We'll be having them register. Again, there's Act 48 and continuing education credits available. So we'll have to be taking care of those special registrations till about 10:15. 10:15, Paula and I will do the official kickoff. You guys will be stationed at your little community areas. And as part of the welcome and instructions, we'll probably go around and just point out briefly where something is. But seeing as there's, 20 some community stations, not everyone's going to remember where they are. And again, that's okay, because that's real life. Okay, and then we move into the actual simulation part around 10:30. That's the section here in the middle. Week 1 is 20 minutes. And then we'll allow about 5 minutes for quote weekend, where the families go back to their home base. Some of your roles may have like tips and things that for you to look out for during that weekend. Like that's maybe when you have a chance, if you're working the super center and you see that a family hasn't come in to buy food for 2 weeks, have a chance to maybe write that name down and then again, this will be part of Barb's role. You can let her know, hey, this family hasn't paid or bought groceries, and then we'll send someone, we'll send the police officer or, someone from the social services, to do a child welfare check or something like that during the weekend when they're home. And then again, same thing, week 2, then a weekend, week 3, a weekend, and week 4. After the actual simulation is done, Stephanie is going to lead us through a debrief discussion. We have some little reflection questions. We'll break the participants and all of you as the volunteers up into small groups to kind of discuss your experiences and what you saw, what you felt. And we want to hear from the volunteers as well, because this is an experience for all of you too. We'll do lunch, and then Kelly Compton, who used to work for Bradford area schools, then went to work with the Chester Intermediate Unit, but does statewide programming for them. She's a good go-to resource in our area on poverty and experiences in poverty. And so she will do a keynote presentation after lunch. And then Stephanie will help us with sort of the wrap up call to action, what to do now with this information. Any questions on the actual schedule, agenda, everything making sense so far? I can see your faces, so if you guys just want to give me a heads up or thumbs up, thumbs down, or also feel free to throw stuff through the chat.
Kate, is there a title for the keynote yet?
I don't have one. I just reached out to her this week. So I should be getting her stuff. I asked for it by, I think, end of day tomorrow or Wednesday.
Awesome.
Okay, so now what to expect. So during those weeks, volunteers, run your stations, refer to the instructions that we have sent out. The participants will come to you with transactions to do things. For example, the employer. So participants they get a profile, and I'll show you all that in a second. But if they're told that they have a job, they're then told for that 20-minute period, you have to go sit at the employer station for, I don't know, 7 minutes or something, or 8 or 9 minutes to represent the time that you're sitting at work. Meanwhile, you also have to make sure you buy groceries. The participants have to make sure they buy groceries, pay bills, keep their home secure. And so that's, 8 minutes of the week that you can't be doing those things because you're sitting at work. And the employer will be doing things like taking attendance, making sure they show up for work, giving out paychecks at the end of the week. Some participants will be told, go get a job. So go apply to the employer. So the employer will also be processing new employment applications. Another example, the super center. They have a list of the families and what those families are expected to be purchasing each week. And then again, also social services. They have some good instructions and some paperwork in your packet about which families may be coming to you for what, and what suggestion or what referrals you give them. So meanwhile, on the participant side, they're all going to have their own little packet. I showed you all the packet earlier where it has their profile, for instance, what their sources of income are. Are they getting SSI? Do they get income from a job? What's the demographics? Is it a single mom and a boyfriend? Is it mom and dad? How many children? What are their ages? Are the children expected to be in school? Do they have to go to daycare? It has a list of the bills that need to be paid for the month. A list of things that includes going to the supermarket and getting food, prescriptions, clothing. And the families are also charged with keeping their home secure. And then I'm going to share one more example here. This is an example of the family profile. So category single mother living with boyfriend. She's 19, a high school dropout, not currently employed. Would like to go back to school and graduate. Has a 1-year-old child, which again, this will be the bag of sugar that she's expected to keep with her at all times. You can't leave the bag of sugar on the chair at home, or again, the police officer or children and youth may come find you. They give you the setting, like where you live, and your income, the bills. So that's an example of the family. So they're given, you know, the instructions on what to do and why they will be showing up at your stations. But you don't necessarily have to know that for all of your families. Again, it'll be kind of different depending on the station that you're at, but it'll all be in your packet. Okay, so back to the PowerPoint. What else to expect? So these were kind of confusing. I think last time we did this, transportation passes. So these are representative of any kind of travel. So in our area, obviously, it's not going to be the subway or necessarily, you know, a bus, mass transit. It's going to be representative mostly of like having a car. But either way, anytime anyone shows up at your station, they have to present you with a transportation pass because it has to represent, you know, the cost of them getting there. If they don't have a pass to go somewhere, that simply means in this area, you didn't have enough gas, or maybe your car was broken down, right? So the participants are going to stress over transportation passes because that's going to be like their golden ticket to getting things done. And so for instance, like with the employer, they have to give them so many passes. I think when they show up for the week, I think it's like 3 or 5 passes they have to hand over instead of just one to get, again, represent going every day. So that's, again, something the families are going to have to manage internally of how many transportation passes do you get? Well, what do you need today? How many do you need? So this is also where Barb, our friend Barb Glott, is going to come in, luck of the draw cards. So these are literally luck of the draw. They're random. Some are good things, some are bad things. For instance, it could say she could, you know, hand this to someone and it says you got a raise, present this to the bank for an extra $15 a week. So that's a good thing. However, that means they have to go to the bank, which if they don't have enough transportation passes or, you know, if they've already gone to the bank that week, then they can't redeem it. Another one, a bad thing that could happen, your child is sick at daycare. You need to go pick him up right away. So well, what if you're at work? You're going to have to leave work. You're going to have to talk to that employer. Your pay may get docked. And beware, criminal activities may occur both in the homes of the families, at your own stations, and also criminal activities can occur while people are traveling among stations. And then just a disclaimer too, this kit was developed around 2005, again, by the Missouri Community Action Agency. And so the dollar amounts are obviously not up to date. Even if this would have been put up to date prior to COVID, now it still probably doesn't catch up. But the thing, you know, we'll make the disclaimer also the day of the event, you know, the concepts are still the same. You know, people are always going to want to say, well, you know, that's a ridiculous, you know, cost to put on a utility bill or whatever. Well, I know, I don't know. We just don't have the resources, or it's not necessary to update it, you know, today to still, you know, kind of get the concept through. Some tips. So again, this is kind of where we started out with, you know, I just wanted to get everyone thinking about these stereotypes and perceptions. Realistic portrayals are important. Sometimes these services can be dehumanizing. Sometimes they're more caring and kind. It's up to you guys, you know, just kind of go with it, you know, just see how things are going. It'll be chaotic at times. I think Stephanie said last time when we did when we were looking at the evaluations and starting to plan this again, you know, she used the term lean into it. It is going to get chaotic. We're going to tell the participants that too. It's designed to be a little stressful at times. As a volunteer at your station, take your time. It's okay if, you know, again, at the supermarket, you're like, okay, what's your family name again? And you're going to have like a list of how much they should be spending. And if there's going to be a lot of people, you know, trying to get to that station, it's fine. Take your time, because again, in real life, sometimes you do get held up and people get impatient. But again, just lean into it. So at this point, other suggestions, tips, reflections from those of you that were there before or have done this before? Okay. Stephanie? Oh, you're muted.
Hey, sorry about that. No, I was looking for something because I wanted to share, and if I'm duplicating, I really apologize because I know that I have unfortunately missed meetings. But for folks, especially for our new colleagues, and welcome and thank you so much. But I put in, did I send it? Why is my chat? Okay. Is my chat coming up? All of a sudden my computer's being really goofy. I see here.
I don't see it yet.
Okay. Send it to everyone. I wonder if it's because I want to try it again, because now I feel like I'm taking up way too much time. Really? Okay. This is from Missouri's Community Action website, because I'm a real thought, everyone here is like involved in so many different things and have your own family and professional responsibilities, that what grounds me is, why am I here again? What's the purpose? And this is the purpose, right? That the creators of this simulation and it kind of grounds me the confusion and chaos and frustration is the point, right? That is the simulation. That is to walk away, especially for us when we, for us in offices and with schedules and with, health insurance or whatever, with things, there's a routine to the day that is not part of a lot of folks. And I think having that experience of having to make, it's not only about what kind of choices, it's recognizing that structure sets, that policy and state policy and local policy sets the menu of choices people can make. And that's the last thing I think is so important, that the goal of this is to shift away from seeing it as a personal failure. It's because somebody didn't make good choices or somebody did something wrong, but that they're living in a world of that folks, live in and experience daily life in a structure that sometimes really stacks the deck against them. So that's, I think that's some of the, from their website, something really helpful. The other tip, as much as possible, and I'm sort of projecting, when I'm nervous, I crack stupid jokes. I crack jokes and I sense humor and stuff like that. I said to myself while I was the banker, and I even dressed the part, like I had a suit on, which is funny. Don't laugh. Don't crack a joke. And because some of the participants were doing that, they were also sort of cracking jokes. And as much as possible, and I tried to, not share my nervousness, especially since it is like, I felt like I should know what I was doing when I was handing out money and reinforcing the rules. But be serious, approach this with serious, because this is supposed to reflect, again, the challenges and difficulties of the lived experiences. So no joking around, not until afterwards.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, anyone else? Barb, good question. How do luck of the draw cards work? Are they at random? Does everyone get one per week? You and I can talk through that morning, Barb, because some of them are more specific to certain families. So we could probably sit down and like, you don't want to give you have a sick child card to a family that doesn't have a child. So we I'll I'll do a little legwork too, before, and maybe try to put some in piles and then assign, and tell you like which family members it should go to. Okay, what other questions or thoughts?
I'm not sure if we ever talked about this before, but I believe it's part of the luck of the draws, if I'm not mistaken, or it might be just coming from the mortgage companies. But at some point throughout the day or the week, somebody may be evicted, and they'll come over and they'll take all their chairs away for where their home is. And know that can happen, and know that we're going to, you at the other agencies are going to have to deal with it, as well as the mortgage company is going to have to try to figure out either how to help them or not help them. So all those luck of the draw things that Barb will have, and along with I don't know, like I said, I'm not sure. Is that initiated by those cards, or is it initiated at the mortgage company?
It depends. Yeah, the mortgage person, which I believe is Brooke Meyer, also from Northwest. They do have a list of families that need to pay by certain weeks, and if they don't, then that person can go and take the chairs away. And again, that's where Paula and I, or Barb as the runner, will be helping, with that kind of fill-in stuff.
Okay.
Another announcement too, now that you guys have kind of heard at least the roles that we have that joined the call today, in addition to that, there's other things like the mortgage collector that couldn't be on the training today. But we also have a role of a police officer, and that is so far unfilled. We've tried a couple of actual officers from the field, but we just can't seem to get the right person in there. So if any of you would rather be the police officer, please let me know, because again, I've doubled or tripled some of you up, and some of these other stations we could maybe combine, but we definitely need a police officer who will be doing things like making sure the children that should be in school are in school. The police officer, will just be generally policing the criminal activities. Certain, families may have drugs planted in their house. So the police officer, will be made aware of that, and will have to make arrests. So again, I put that call for a new role out there. If any of you feel that you would do a good job doing that, or if you can think of someone, if you know someone that might be interested, please send them our way. We'll keep working on getting that role filled.
Wasn't there one page in the book, and I'm looking through the book, and I should have looked through the book before, and I thought I saw it, but just like one page of what each station was and a description. I'm wondering if we couldn't share that with them after the training. I think that might be helpful for everybody, particularly those who have not been there before. And I'm looking through this packet and I'm not finding it right now, but I know it's in here.
Yep, I have it.
Yeah, I think we got it in one of our emails previously, or maybe it was just the committee, because I have it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I think I did send it out and asked when everyone first was volunteering and emailing to say that you would do it. I think I sent the whole list out. But
Okay, maybe that's why I didn't realize you sent it out already.
Yeah, because some people specifically asked for certain roles.
Okay, that's fine. Like I said, I was just thinking of things that might be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, well, good.
Oh yeah, I did.
Other questions, comments? Okay. Well, if you think of anything, you know where to find me over the next week. And In the meantime, I'll get this recording uploaded and I'll get the link out to you all in case you want to watch it again. Or again, share it with your colleagues that weren't able to make it today. All right, Paula, can you think of anything else for this group? Okay, so our planning committee, if you guys could just stick around for just a few extra minutes so we could, kind of catch up and tie up any loose ends on the planning committee team, that would be great. I'll stop recording. Thank you again, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all next week in person.
Thank you.
Thanks.